It is what it do and how the hell are all of you? George truly Petrov fucker back with another mother love. You already know the deal. Grab your smoke, grab your drink, and lock in with your boy because we back with another one. Hope y'all having a blessed Friday. Hope y'all having a blessed December. Mad prayers out to anybody that's been affected by any of the tornadoes, any weather events that have been going on that have been just putting the pressure on people. Prayers go out to those people. The news is just wild, man. Whether it's your local news, whether it's the national news, international news, you know what I mean? It's crazy. You know, something was funny. There's an article. I don't know. It could have been Fox. I think it was Fox. Kim Jong-un's the second is his death anniversary today, or was this week or whatever, you know. And in North Korea, you're not allowed to laugh right now. You supposed to mourn a motherfucker that didn't even know you, but somehow put your life in pressure. You know what I mean? And it's wild to me that all these countries that we got beef with, whether it's Russia, China, Iraq, Iran, it's crazy to me, especially like when it comes to North Korea and you see what some of these leaders do, you know. But North Korea is probably like the most strict with what they do, man. You can't laugh today because you're supposed to be mourning somebody's daddy's death that you don't even know. And that makes me think, if you got caught laughing outside, what would they do? But that right there, that's a simple, very simple contrast to what a lot of these motherfuckers that run around preaching communism and socialism have never in their life dealt with. And let's be honest, let's keep it a buck. If that was Trump, let's say this was Trump. Let's say Trump was in office, same kind of hypothetical situation. The Trumps have been running the United States for 100 years, right? One of them dies, and they say, you better not laugh. Or Trump, you know, because Donald Trump, the third's deaf, you know what I mean? And you'd have all these assholes, Kathy Griffin, all these celebrities talking about, man, fuck him, bro. All these chuckleheads running around acting like they really know something. You know what I mean? You'd have them run around talking all that kind of shit. But then they'll turn around in the same breath and be like, man, what they're doing in North Korea, that's wrong. How are they going to do that to the people like that? But yet those same people will be like, you know what, maybe it's better if the government takes over a little bit more control in America. Yeah, that's what it sounds like for real. Now, you already know it's a News Friday. Love News Fridays. We're going to bump one out real quick. You already know what it is. Let's see what's cracking. Now, right now in Minneapolis, we got Kim Potter on trial. All kinds of shit. Now, this one I think is kind of right here. This right here, not Daunte Wright, but this one. That's a person getting a jab, right? And there's a TikTok video. I know a lot of people seen it I've seen it on Facebook. First time I seen it is a soldier saying he was forced to get the vaccine, so he kept his benefits. And you have other people other active military members say, you know, first day of basic, they use us like pin cushions. What's any different from those shots to this shot? What's the difference? Did it matter then? Well, yeah, kind of. I mean, you signed up to take those vaccines, not this vaccine. Or not this jab. I ain't gonna call it what it isn't. You know what I mean? And you have so many people out here that push it over and over and over again. And then the same people that try to push the vaccine are going to tell everybody and their mama that if they don't have the vaccine and they get sick, then that's the repercussions. You know what I mean? Or, you know, you have to suffer the ramifications of your actions, your choices. I mean, if the shoe's on the other foot and y'all get sick, shouldn't you have to suffer the ramifications of your actions and your choices? And at least acknowledge what was wrong in your choices and situation? But nah, that would be too hard. That'd be too easy for them. Y'all already know what it is. You know what I mean? Now, we're going to do this one first because this is something I said I would follow this. And the state has rested their case, and now it's the defense, doing their case. The state's going to go after Kim Potter something fierce. Now we're going to read a little bit of this. It's his dad must have took the stand to provide a character to Daunte, Wright. Said spark of life testimony regarding his son. Said he had a close-knit family, and his son held a lot of different jobs, including one at a footwear store where his father was the manager. Now, this kind of stood out to me right here. It was great. It was challenging to work with my son. Aubrey, Wright said, I tried to let him understand the difference between we're at work, I'm your boss. We're at home, I'm your dad. On one occasion, he testified he sent his son home from spending too much time on his phone at work. But court documents from multiple cases paint a portrait of Daunte Wright as a career criminal, not a gainful employed family man. And that right there, we gonna cover it. I'm gonna leave that up there. But it's here. Wright's fledgling career ended early when Potter shot him in the chest as he tried to flee a traffic stop on April 11th. But there was this was not a. I mean, if you look right here, it says right here. Somebody didn't want to respond to the doorbell and ignored Wright, the petition states. Then Wright walked behind the house, knocked on the back door according to the court documents. When no one answered, he allegedly took down the screen on the bathroom window and crawled inside. At that point, JM chased him out. It's unclear how the juvenile case was resolved. A spokeswoman for Ben Crump, the attorney representing Wright's family, did not immediately respond to requests for comment. Now, a little bit about Ben Crump. He is an attorney out of, I believe, Atlanta. And he seems to be taking on every high profile case from here to Kingdom Come. He seems that he has the best analogies and the best way to solve these and settle these. Now, this is not the Derek Chauvin trial. No matter how they try to spin it or make it fit, it's not. Not the same case, not the same situation, not even the same scenario. I know a lot of people on the left get mad when the criminal histories get brought up. They get real mad about that. Like, what is it? Why does that happen? What does that mean about your character? Well, let me break it on down for a lot of motherfuckers that don't like the idea of it. If you are a known fighter, a known drug addict, a known abuser, a known drunk, a known prostitute, whatever, you are always going to have that on your criminal record or your police record. If you go out and you commit crimes and you serve the time for those crimes, when a cop stops you, it's going to pop up on their computer that you were arrested for such and such and such and such. And if those crimes are violent crimes, they are going to take the situation a little bit more seriously because of the violent crimes and the natures of the crimes. Now, it's not like this young man decided he was going to go get into a fist fight. He held someone at gunpoint. He clearly was not willing to go to jail in the video, as I've showed. He was not willing to go to jail. He was going to resist that and get back in the car and try to flee arrest. At some point, you have to be, if you're going to call this man a family man, don't call someone a family man if they're not a family man, because that's disrespectful to motherfuckers that are actually family men that put that life down to be a family man. That set that life aside knowing full well if they continued to go down that road they were going to go down, it was not going to end pretty for them and or their family. So when you call people family men that are not family men, it's really disrespectful to those family men. Just like when single moms try to go at all dads because they got a deadbeat daddy. Or single dads try to go at all moms because they got a deadbeat baby mama. You know what I mean? Let's keep it a buck. Don't generalize and show disrespect to everybody when you really just mean it for one person. You know what I mean? And in this situation, Fox is not wrong. The dad can get up there and the dad can say, my son was an angel, my son was this, that, other thing, because he probably was to you. But you wasn't with him 24 hours a day, 365 days a year. You know what I mean? You wasn't with him all those times. You wasn't out there when he was out there committing them crimes. And the jobs that he did have had a lot of jobs. How old was he? How many jobs you going to run through? You know what I mean? Why did you have to go through all those jobs? And how did you end up continually going to a life of crime? You know what I mean? Like, you cannot try to paint someone in a light that's not their light. That's not honest. That's not truthful. You're trying to paint a narrative. You're trying to shove a narrative down someone's throat that's just not factually true. And when people poke holes in those stories, people get mad about it. But you can get as mad as you want because you cannot change the facts. You cannot change what that person was about. You know what I mean? The situation is the way the situation played out. And it doesn't show like he was going to comply. Like a career criminal won't comply. Everybody I know knows a career criminal. Shit, pretty much every family got one. And you know everyone knows those motherfuckers don't listen. They ain't worried about going back to jail. They ain't worried about that shit. Now, most of them don't want to go back, but they ain't worried about it. Now, I think Daunte was far too young to have that type of man. I ain't afraid to go back. Shit, I'll do it sitting on my head. I'll do all the time. I don't think he was like that. I think the situation escalated. He didn't realize what he was doing, how he was going to do it, when he was going to do it, where he was going to do it. And it just, one mistake led to another. You know what I mean? His mistake led to her mistake. Her mistake led to his mistake. Something. But it's a mistake at the end of the day. Now, the prosecution, their case, it ain't bad, but I don't think it's rock solid. So we'll really have to see what the defense pushes up this next week. I know the defense has made like 2 dismiss this case calls, and the judge was like, nah, that's not going to fly. That's not going to happen. And I think the defense shouldn't ask for something like that because you're not going to get it even if it was earned. You're not going to get it. You know what I mean? Think about that shit. There is no way, if I'll keep it a buck all day. If the judge was like, we're going to dismiss this because of this reason, and Kim Potter's free to go home, the city of Minneapolis or Brooklyn Park is going to be set on fire all over again. The protest is going to happen thick. But what I do think is, because of the weather, and because I'm going to say times are definitely a lot different from what they were in 2020. All of that, not that the protesting and all that shit settled down, but you don't see about it as much. You don't hear about it as much. I definitely know they ain't protesting in Minneapolis like they was, or in Brooklyn Park like they were. The groups that they get aren't as big as they once was. Now, that could happen again. You definitely more people come out and get riled up about it. But the Kyle Rittenhouse trial tells me that just might not be the actual case. A lot of people can say that there was no justification, there was no justice in that case. Yeah, there was. It was self-defense. It was proven a self-defense clean and clean, through and through. Derek Chauvin's boots got smoked for what he did. Ahmaud Arbery, his killers got their boots smoked for what they did. So it does show that the justice system, though we may not like it, does do what it's supposed to do. None of these motherfuckers got off. And there was a lot of people saying that, maybe Chauvin will walk. Maybe Kyle will, get a life sentence. Man, those 3 guys are going to get off in an Ahmaud Arbery case. Nah. Kyle got off because he was the defendant on trial. The state was going after him for the murder of a pedophile, a domestic abuser, and just a criminal in their own right. See, and it goes back to, you want to paint a picture of somebody. Okay, paint that picture. But you better be truthful and honest about it. Because if you're not, then that shit comes to light. When you want to go out and you want to protect the gangsters, the thugs, the criminals, that shit could come back to bite you in your ass tenfold. And you can't get mad when it does come to bite you in your ass tenfold. You just can't. But yet there's a lot of motherfuckers that do. And that, to me, that's petty, that is shiesty, because you're trying to make a narrative where the narrative shouldn't even be made. To try to make Rosenbaum or Anthony Huber or Gage Groskraut sound like they were doing something good that night is a narrative that's a lie. To try to make Rosenbaum sound like a good person, that's a motherfucking joke. To make Anthony Huber sound like it was just a mistake. Now he choked his woman. Beat the fuck out of her. No, that's not a mistake. He knew what he was doing. Those 3 guys in the Ahmaud Arbery case, they knew what they was doing was kind of fucked up. But they thought because, the police is around here and they let us get a look, because Georgia's laws are different. The police, they asked for their help in that case, but didn't give them no right to run around and go pop nobody. But what they did was wrong. And they thought, well, maybe we'll skate. No, you didn't skate. And when you think about Derek Chauvin, everyone can say what he did was fucked up and wrong. Fucked up and twisted. But you can still say that was a kangaroo court. His boots were smoked before he ever sat down in the courtroom. That was just a waste of taxpayer dollars. But it seems like in that case, that's the only case that didn't seem like there was some kind of narrative being painted about Derek Chauvin. All his skeletons came out the closet. What was he going to do to stop it? Nothing. People was digging left, right, and center. Same with Kyle. People digging in to see every kind of skeleton they can. Found one video of him talking about shooting people or something when it was looting. Then they found a video of him slapping some woman. Both videos out of context. You really don't know what's going on in the videos. You don't really know. You don't know how it started, how the conversation, what led to that position. And you can say what you want about him slapping somebody. You can get as mad as you want about that. But then again, you weren't there for that situation. You don't know what was actually said. You don't know what was done in that situation. So again, you can paint whatever narrative you want, but it's a lie. That's one of the reasons I never really spoke on those videos. I did a little joke, argued with a couple people on TikTok about the one where he's out the store where people are looting and shit. But if you think a lot of people didn't have those ideas, like, man, you could stop this shit with a gun right now. If you don't think people had that idea, you stupid. And you acting as if people were just okay with it. They weren't. The people that are okay with the looting and the robbing were the ones that were doing the looting and the robbing. Just like they're doing now in a massive crime spree. And you have California senators, congresspeople, and mayors coming out saying, oh, crime is bad. Crime is bad. But they didn't have no problem with the looting and all that shit. No, they had every excuse for that, right? So don't let these Democrats get none of that shit twisted. None of it. They were okay with crime in 2020. It just has risen to a point now, they can't write it off with a smirk, a smile, and some dumb shit they try to lead up with. They can't. Too many lives have been affected because of the crime they decided not to quell when they had the motherfucking chance. All the governors, all the mayors, all the congresspeople, all the senators that made decisions to tie the police force's hands. The crime is your fault. Because you made sure the people that could stop the crime, try to prevent the crime, you tied their hands to a point. They weren't able to do a goddamn thing except sit and watch. Oh, and then occasionally get pelted with some shit, get into a little skirmish here and there, and then get blamed for the skirmish after someone chucked a bottle of frozen piss at them. But nah, that's not your problem, is it? That's the taxpayer's problem. Because it's the taxpayer that's going to be affected by all this shit. Because let's not ever get it twisted. All these government officials make a pretty chunk of money. So they ain't living where most of us is living. They're not living how most of us are living. I don't got no driver. I don't got a security team. Do you? Do you got 2 homes? Are you not worried about having to pay some kind of bill? Are you not worried about having a bill come that you can't pay? Because they're not. Let's keep it 100. Unless you're AOC complaining now about not being able to have the government take care of my $17,000 in student loans, even though I make $174,000 off the taxpayers' backs. Don't let them don't ever let them motherfuckers talk you into forgetting. And by all means, eat the cookies they want to give, drink the booze, take the gifts, whatever. But don't never, ever forget what the fuck they were okay with. And how many of them just let shit slide because they didn't want to do their job. They let a fraction, and a very small fraction at that, of the population deem and demand how they moved and what they thought and how they were going to act accordingly. Why the majority said it was all twisted and all fucked up. But who did they listen to? Think about that shit for a second. And that's some of the reason right there. I do not trust the government or any really government agency or any government power, especially at this point. The things that they allowed, the things that they were okay with people doing and people getting away with was so baffling to me. And I'm not a dumb cat, you know what I mean? I might not sound the brightest, but I try to think out everything logically with some common sense. And when you're sitting on this Lake Street watching the police on the top of the 3rd precinct not be able to do a goddamn thing except retreat and hide, make that shit make sense. When you see the cops in California go toe-to-toe with protesters line to line, make that shit make sense. When you see them attack the government buildings in Oregon and burn them out, make that shit make sense. I'll wait. Because none of it makes sense. And we can all say, fuck the police. We can all say, man, fuck the FBI, fuck them all. We can all say it. Because they've already proven that they'll still call the cops when they need them. They've proven that. And this one was funny to me. This one was kind of funny. That show 911. Dudes, the fire chief or whatever, and the police officer lady, their kid got kidnapped, and someone got shot, and the fire department, whatever, ambulance pulled up, and they were like, yo, chief, they're not letting us in. This is the autonomous zone, rah, rah, rah. Someone got shot, but they're not letting us in. The chief walked up, kicked the fence down, said, hey, there ain't, since when do anarchists have rules type shit, right? And he kicked the fence down, said there ain't no rules here, walked in, got to the person. But it made me think of the time in the Chaz. All those nights of gunfire going off in that bitch, and that cops were not able to get in there. And then it even made me think even closer to home. There was at least 3 reports of ambulances not being able to get into the George Floyd Square when it was blocked off to help people. So it proved right then and there that all the people in the Chaz, all big-brained assholes as they are, all the big-brained assholes that took over Chicago, took over all that shit, not one of you had brains enough to become either a nurse or a surgeon or a doctor of some sort that may be able to help the community in which you are trying to overtake. And the lives that were lost in those situations meant nothing to those groups after the fact. It was just a name and another way to blame the police or the government. And as I said before, we can all yell, fuck the police, fuck 12. We can all yell it. But like when we watch cop shows now and we see in the show what we see happen in real life. Like on Chicago PD, you got the one dude said, we don't talk to you racist ass cops around here no more. And then 911, you have the autonomous zone. And I'm sure if I watch a couple episodes, I'll pop up a couple other. Oh, Hank Floyd said, I'm not woke enough for you. You know what I mean? There is a lot that is going on in the world that now they're putting in the entertainment industry. And that makes sense because that's what we got to deal with. Now we see all the actors in the shows wearing masks because that's what's going on in the world, right? But that's, to me, it takes away from the entertainment. Because I know the story behind the autonomous zone in 911. I know about them. I read about them. I did shows on them. And to make it seem like it was just so, oh, there was some hero cop. No, there wasn't. No cop showed up. There was there in the autonomous zone. There was some young cat that walked in flipping tables and shit. Nobody did nothing for like 5 minutes. And then they just wanted to stop and talk to him. Or you had Raz handing out guns to supposedly 18-year-olds, allegedly 18-year-olds. It was just a wild time, and to see it portrayed in TV is even more wild, you know what I mean? Especially when they make it seem like it was such a in and out situation when it really wasn't. And I get why they write what they write, how they do it. I get it. I'm not saying it's a bad thing, you know, whatever. But it does take away from the entertainment because I want to be entertained. So it makes sense when instead of wanting to sit down and watch cop shows or regular television that's somehow going to bring in whatever's going on in the real world, I might as well just watch shit that goes on in the real world and watch the news or watch independent media or watch these other podcast channels to at least get some kind of real entertainment out of people that are actually trying to either entertain or get an actual true point across. You know what I mean? And when I think of all of that, and I think of the hate towards the police, the people shooting and acting like they really want, shooting for and acting like they really want to have a socialist or communist government, the people that are so far left when it comes to mandates and vaccines, it's all just so wild and so insane. And it's like, how do you wrap your brain around such insanity? You know what I mean? Like, that's wild to me. And this is one of the most wild thoughts I've had. I've thought about it a few times, but when I see people say I was forced to get the vaccine or I lose my job, my benefits, whatever, right? All I think is like, I get that you could lose, but is it worth not standing for what you want to stand for? You know what I mean? Like, I always think there's a job that'll pay you the same amount, give you the same benefits, and not nearly the same stress. Not nearly the same ask. You know what I mean? And when you think of like New York, we'll pull that up. Now, right here, New York Mayor Bill de Blasio today announced major expansions to key to NYC program, the first in the nation vaccine mandate for workers and customers at indoor dining, fitness, entertainment, and performance venues. The mayor also announced the first in the nation vaccine mandate for private sector workers. Now, let's pull up another one real quick. Right here. Read that shit. Bill de Blasio did what New Yorkers wanted. Let's pull that up. Now, we'll read the first line. Bill de Blasio did what New Yorkers wanted. Yet, as the mayor prepares to leave office, he stubbornly remains unpopular. Now, this is an intelligencer. I don't know anything about this magazine, nothing like that. Y'all see me pull it right up. Bill de Blasio's mask mandates on his way out of office. I think this man, because he is no longer going to be in office, Eric Adams is going to take over, is really doing whatever he can to either stick it to the motherfuckers that didn't like him or piss off the motherfuckers that didn't like him. But he don't care no more. Now, I've heard other people like Tim Pool and Luke Gronkowski and them on the Timcast IRL podcast. I think Steven Crowder brought it up. I know Adam Krigler did. He has made comments about like buying up all the property, the old buildings and shit that are either out of code that he can get up to code, this, that, the other. It sounds like he is running motherfuckers out of New York to make it his own little stronghold, you know, little de Blasio land. That wouldn't shock me if he did that. I'll keep it 100 all day. That would not shock me in the least if a crazy leftist radical prick decided to go take over a city because they had the means to and the funds to. Now, I don't know. I think he's out of office in January, so he's got a few more weeks. So he could really, in essence, do more damage because these private sector mandates, they have not seemed to go over too well, you know. Now, there's no doubt that there are some radicals in New York that are perfectly okay with the mandates and perfectly okay with the mandates hurting and affecting those who are unvaccinated, those who refuse to get the vaccine, which we will get into a little bit of that in a second as well. He's okay with upsetting everybody and their mama that is against it or doesn't like the idea of the mandates for the people that are against it. Now, there's been plenty of videos I've talked about him. A lad covered a couple of them where he is in New York and he's asking New Yorkers what do they think about the vaccine. There's plenty of these New Yorkers that think that it should be 10 times more strict, that they should make it so you're stuck in your house, that you can't get a lease, that you can't get a mortgage loan. All kinds of shit. If some of these crazy bastards had their own way, they'd be like, they shouldn't have a cell phone. They shouldn't have nothing because they don't want to get this one thing that I demand that they get. Because if they don't get it, it doesn't really affect me at all. But because I think it does affect me, oh my God, I need them to suffer. That's what I get from it. That's how I see these crazy assholes. I'm always keep it 100 with you. Now, Bill de Blasio, I have talked about him a few times. He decided he was going to run for president and realized really quickly he ain't got the money and he don't want that kind of struggle because he would never get in office. He would just blow the money getting there. Motherfuckers already didn't like him. So motherfuckers wasn't going to want to see him on the grand scale of all. They decided they'd rather pitch for Joe Biden. Oh, looking asses. And speaking of Biden, let's get to that real quick.
Unvaccinated, we are looking at a winter of severe illness and death for unvaccinated.
We're unvaccinated. We're looking at a severe winter of illness and death. Illness and death. Let's just cover that real quick. Now, let me know in my comment section. Are you afraid of illness? Are you afraid of death? I'm not. I don't want to die, but I'm not afraid of them. I believe in God, and I believe if that's your way to go out, that's your way to go out. Some ways are extremely sad, extremely long, extremely prolonged for no motherfucking reason, and all we can ask is why, God? But I'm not afraid. And one thing that we've learned over the course of these, I don't know, almost 2 years is fear. Fear is something that doesn't take much to get the masses collectively riled up and afraid. We seen that when the stores were empty. Now, there's a lot of selfish people, but I don't think the selfish people are the ones that cleared out the shelves. I think people were afraid. And afraid of something that we didn't know about at that time. So they had every reason to be kind of afraid. We didn't know if this was going to be the worst thing in the world. We had videos coming from all over the world, different stories, different articles, this, that, and the other, that made it sound like this was the worst thing that could ever happen to us. Horrible. It's gonna, and then we had articles saying it's going to kill millions, right? Now, there was a lot of motherfuckers like Tim Pool, Styx Hexenhammer. I know Styx was on that shit like crazy. You had Steven Crowder, Elijah Schaffer. You had so many people that was actual justice warrior. I don't want to name no more, but you had a lot of motherfuckers out here, right? That was really getting out different points of view. Getting out different, hey, just think about this. I'm not saying don't be afraid. I'm not saying don't wear a mask. I'm not saying don't wash your hands after you go poo-poo. But you need to listen to this side too. You know, take it all in before you make a informed decision. And somewhere along the line, people in groves decided that certain outlets were no longer credible because of what they stood for. And I mean Fox, I mean CNN, I mean these big outlets. And they had reasons to catch those failures. Let's keep it a buck. Real biased news outlets definitely are going to be accepted as biased, but then people are going to know that they're biased. So when you watch CNN, you know that shit's not going to always lean your way. And, well, if you're right leaning or center leaning, you know it's not always going to lean your way. But You had a lot of people that came out and said no matter who Fox had on, or Newsmax, or these other independent outlets, they were automatically wrong. But then they would source the CDC, CNN, MSNBC, Fauci, and then if you say anything against any of that, oh, you're fucking just spreading medical misinformation. You know what I mean? They really came out the woods with some shit. But motherfuckers had a right to be afraid at that time. But now, man, now it's literally just pushing fear just to push fear. And then saying, oh, I just think we should be on the better side, be aware. No, you're pushing fear because motherfuckers will be afraid and they will listen to that shit. That's why you're doing it. That's why Fauci changes up his lingo all the fucking time. And that's why right now they are going after the unvaxxed as hard as they are. Let's get into this. He should have been a contender as backbenchers and prattling senators piled in the 2020 race for president. Bill de Blasio entered as the manager of the nation's largest city, overseeing a police force the size of a small army, a school system that had more children in it than an entire population of 7 different states, and the successful response to not 1 but 2 infectious disease outbreaks. Whew, so many lies. Now, the man may have some power, and he may be the overseer of some things, but let's keep it 100. Let's keep it 100%. This man did not have a successful response to anything, let alone 2 infectious disease outbreaks. This man could give a fuck about the police force as he's showing time and time again, and he decreased that small army to something serious. And then only you want to use the children, the fucking goal of this prick. The children. This motherfucker proved he didn't care about no one's fucking kids except his own. Had them in private school while every public school was fucking closed or had virtual learning, which only hurt children. But then again, keep going, motherfucker, and keep digging yourself a dumb asshole, because I'm happy to help you watch. I'm happy to watch while you dig yourself a dumb asshole. You know what I mean? Now, he had created early childhood education programs that served more than 100,000 children under 5 each year. Given paid family leave and higher wages to city workers, added and preserved 165,000 units of affordable housing, granted greater access to health care for the poor, imposed fair scheduling requirements for fast food workers, and kept annual increase to rent-regulated apartments to a minimum. Now, I don't want to read any more of them fluffing his ass, just kind of irritating. Some of those things, I guess I'm not going to say it's good, but I mean, if you served if you were in office 8 years, 800,000 children you helped. There's like how many people in New York? I mean, I know it's a lot of people that you helped, but couldn't there have been more? I mean, if you're going to just be willy-dilly and helping out everything you can. And then when it says about the added and preserved 165,000 units of affordable housing, that's what I believe Tim Pool and them and Luke Gronkowski and them are talking about when he bought up property. I don't know if he bought it up as himself or if he bought it up as the mayor. But it does raise a question, because he can say it's for the homeless, this, that, and the other, but when he's out of office, I don't think he's going to be as caring. And when it comes to granted greater access to health care for poor, imposed fair scheduling requirements for fast food workers, if you work in fast food and you get over a certain amount of hours for a certain amount of time, they have to offer you health insurance. It's the law. I know at least in Minnesota, and I'm assuming it's a federal law, so I'm assuming he can say that he did something extra with that, but I don't think that he really did. I think when you fidget with something, it doesn't mean you fixed it or made it better. That's my personal opinion. And rent-regulated apartments to a minimum. Now, I'm not saying that there's not people out there that be gouging the fuck out of you for rent. I'm not saying that. I'm not saying that there's greedy-ass people. But if someone owns a property and they want to rent it for $10,000, why is that an issue if someone's willing to pay for it? If you can't afford it, then you don't get to live there. I think it's just that simple, you know what I mean? If you can't afford it, don't go looking for it. And that's, I mean, now if you live somewhere and they raise the rent $300-$400, you could be like, yo, that's fucked up. Especially if you're just trying to you're just making it. You know what I mean? But then again, Could find somewhere else to go and just, rent went up. Because I know in places I've lived, the rents went up, and I'm like, yo, we gonna have to find somewhere else to go next year because we ain't doing this shit again at all. It's gonna make shit tight. You know what I'm talking about? And I know a lot of people that have went through that, and they gotta. It's not fun. It's not awesome, but it's the way it goes. Especially when you talk about inflation and shit going up. When you talk about all this other stuff going up, the money you would save, on rent, you're about to pay on food, pay on gas, pay on your other bills. So did he really save you money? Especially if everything else is going up. Like, think about that shit. That's where common sense and I think logic comes into play. We lowered this for you, but then everything else skyrockets, so you still end up taking my money from me? It's called highway robbery for a reason. You know what I mean? And now, what I was going to say about the unvaxxed and everybody and their mama coming after them, it is definitely a different predicament to be in. And I think a lot of people are unsure of this predicament. They've never been in this predicament. Facing this is rough. I don't have the shot myself, so I sit in the same boat as everyone else that is not got the shot. The pressure from every corner gets to be a bit much. You know what I mean? And then there's little signs of hope here and there, At least I take it as hope. There's this young cat on TikTok, and he goes around. He's from Minnesota, so it really gives me some hope. He goes around, he does his little interview and things with people, and he asks all the time, like, are you unvaxxed? Are you vaxxed? Are you for it, against, and he don't really put two people against each other. It's normally just asking one person, in a mall setting or outside setting, and he's always got some young cats on there that, saying, fuck the vax, this, that, the, I ain't got to get it, my body, my choice. And that's some hope to me. Because then it lets me, I like to know there's other motherfuckers out there fighting it. Because when it's just you at your job, or you and one other homie, and it's you against everybody, you know what I mean? Because that's what it comes down to. Most people that got it and didn't get it because they didn't want to lose their job, this, that, the other. I shouldn't say most, but I'd say a lot of people that decided that they were going to go get it the first, the second, the third, the booster. And then they push these mandatory vaccines. They don't care about your opinion or what you want at all. They don't care about what I think or what I want at all. They don't give a fuck. They don't want to hear the point. They don't want to hear our argument. None of that shit. They don't care. But then they want us to hear that we should go get it. Or we should be forced to have it or face the ramifications of our decision. I love it. I love when assholes say that. Try to sound all proper and shit. Face the ramifications of my actions. Okay. I'm cool with that. I've made it clear. I'm cool with standing on this hill. I'm cool with fighting on this hill. Because I know on this hill, there's some bad motherfuckers on this hill with me. And I don't mean bad actors, bad people. Some badass motherfuckers is on this hill too. Some savages. Some I ain't gonna take that bullshit lying down motherfuckers. You know what I mean? And I'm proud to stand with them motherfuckers. Because what it tells me is, I'm not alone in this game. You not alone in this game. I'm going to keep fighting the fight against it. I'm going to keep saying, fuck these mandates, and I'm going to keep ducking them. Because right now, federal court is on the side of, you can't mandate that. So it's just a matter of time before. That's why Bill de Blasio had to go with his little bullshit mandate that won't hold up when it comes to federal court. And you can motherfucking there are already companies suing him for that mandate. I think he's just trying to screw a lot of things up for Eric Adams. That's what I personally think. I think he's I don't think he wanted to lose. I think he still wanted to have that helm as mayor. And now he's not that. So he's going to do everything he can with that shitty little eating grin on his face, acting like he's the best New Yorker possible. But when we think of the mandate and we think of all the pressure they're putting, the private this, got to come after me this way, then you got all these other Americans that are saying that the restrictions should be tighter, the rope should be tighter, the rules should be tighter. It was crazy when Trump was in office and motherfuckers was saying conservatives should be shipped off to a camp. Like, these motherfuckers is insane, and that's why I say they are insane, because they are. They are not playing with a full deck of cards. They are not playing with a full stack of marbles, bruh. If me not getting a vaccine makes you wish me death, makes you wish evil things upon me, harshness upon me, how am I the piece of shit? How am I the scumbag? Make that shit make sense, motherfucker. Like, for real. Make that shit make sense. You can't, because that shit don't make sense. Especially when we got the Omicron variant, and that shit was basically started by motherfuckers that had vaccines. Y'all motherfuckers out here starting shit. And then want to blame unvaccinated motherfuckers. The balls on you all assholes. It's just the goal, the balls of all these motherfuckers, man. Think about it. That's the goal. You know what I mean? And that's why when I talk about the vaccine, this, that, and other, I ain't bugging. I ain't worried about it. Try me, ho. You can't force me to get it. You can't make me get it. And the only way you could make me get it is if you tie my ass down and put that shit in my arm. But even then, I'm still going to be fighting the whole motherfucking way through. And like I had told other people, I don't think they went the route in Minnesota of mandates on children, or across the country with mandates on children, because you will really truly have parents come out the motherfucking woodwork then woofing, hollering, and making a motherfucking scene. And I'd be one of them. You think school board meetings was rough from these last few months? Try that mandate shit with vaccines and see how fast that shit backfires. You know what I mean? Now, with all the news and all that shit going on, whether it's the vaccine, whether it's Biden talking about it, whether it's Biden trying to get away from any of the problems that him and Kamala Harris are choosing not to even look at, the news does not stop, right? It just keeps going. And so do I. Now, when I see headlines about Maxine Waters, I always got to go back to it, because Maxine Waters is another piece of scum of the earth that is just another leech on the tax-paying dollar. Let's keep it 100. Let's keep it 1,000. Maxine Waters ditches mask on United Airlines flight to L.A. Witnesses claim Congresswoman only wore one when asked by attendant. See, it's the rule for thee, but not for me looking at things. And these people have every excuse in the world why they don't need to wear it. What they were doing without it, but gosh forbid you got caught without it, they'd be coming on your ass. And this isn't the first time that she's made a blunder, per se. You know, she's made a lot of blunders when Trump was in office, talking about chase them down, yell in their face type shit. You know what I mean? Now she's going to be like Pelosi and choose not to wear the mask when she's supposed to have the mask on. Now, was you drinking Maxine Waters? Was that what she was doing? Because I fucking doubt it. Maxine Waters being called out for seemingly not practicing what she preaches. Amen to that. The Democratic representative from California, who has been vocally critical of those who refuse to comply with the mandatory mask mandate since the start of the coronavirus pandemic, was photographed without her mask on during a cross-country flight on United Airlines. A witness claims the 83-year-old congresswoman kept the facial covering off for at least 1 hour, despite federal regulations and a growing number of COVID-19 cases due to the Omicron variant. The flight departed from Dulles International Airport in Virginia and was headed to Los Angeles International Airport. Maxine had taken her mask off for at least an hour while she read her paper and took a nap. Attendants brought her fresh coffee while she was napping and didn't say a thing as 3 of them walked past and saw Maxine reading, then sleeping while she remained maskless. The witnesses told the Daily Wire on Thursday, also providing the outlet with a photo showing Walter sitting in the left window seat reading the newspaper. A fellow passenger said she did not receive the same treatment from the airline staff. My nose bled pretty early in the flight, so later on I pulled my mask down below my nose so to get some cooler air. The woman told the Daily Wire. Within a few minutes, a flight attendant informed me that I had to put my mask back over my nose right away, immediately. See, it's rules for thee, but not for me. So Maxine Waters gets to sleep comfortably, read her paper, but this person got a bloody nose and got to put that face diaper back on. That's wild to me. Now, I understand that people can be afraid of the Omicron variant, but I've always said if you want to wear a mask, wear a mask. If you don't. You shouldn't be forced to. It shouldn't be a mandate. It shouldn't be. No company should be like, you have to wear it. It should always be it's requested, but it's not necessary. That's how I look at it. Now, when you have a congressperson acting completely out of line for an hour, and that's what it is. She knew what she was doing. She knew full well if she had her mask off. She's not dumb. She's not dumb. No. The source then said she responded by pointing to Waters, indicating the politician was not properly masked. According to the woman, the flight attendant looked at Waters before turning back to the woman saying, "Okay, but you need to put your mask on right away." I put the mask on right away after the flight attendant told Maxine to put her mask on. The woman told the outlet Maxine had been napping. She did put the mask on after the attendant interrupted her sleep and told her to do so. I think she was startled by the rude awakening. Flight attendants stay on you, the source said. If you don't put your mask on in between your bites of food or sips of drink, they will ask you. They state so at the start of their safety guidelines for the flight. But none of them once bothered Maxine when she was maskless. She went on. A politician who believes in masks, but only when others wear them for her. It's a double standard, but people seem to be blind to it. Now, I would argue, this is something that I would argue all day. Maxine Waters is not, she's like Nancy Pelosi in a sense. People know who she is. Her face has been in and around the internet for the last 4 or 5 years, once a month, once every 2 months, for the last 4 or 5 years. She was one of Trump's most outspoken critics. She always had some shit to say about Trump. All of her videos about him went viral. She had so many lefties fanning her flag, fanning her fanny. You know what I mean? They were so happy to be on her fucking side. There's no way that there's a lot. Now, I know not everybody's involved with politics, but some of those videos had went so viral, had gotten so much play across so many different sites. There's no way you don't know who she is. You may not know her name. You might not know where she's a congressperson from. Shit, you might not even know she's a congressperson, but you know she's somebody. And the problem is they walked past her and didn't bother to wake her up. Didn't bother to say, hey, you got to put the mask back on. You got to put the mask back on, you know. And especially if they're going to be enforcing these rules and having Congress people spout out these rules, then they definitely need to be following them for everybody, not just who they think is a good pick for the day. And that's how I'm always going to look at it. You can't make rules for everyone else and then not follow them yourself because you have whatever reason in the world. She was asleep. She was reading a paper. Nancy Pelosi was getting her hair done. Still not a motherfucking reason not to have a mask on. Now, I've never slept with a mask on, so I can only imagine that would probably suck. So maybe don't sleep on the flight. You know what I mean? That's kind of how I look at that. And then if we go back, like Reuters said, Spain's coronavirus infection rate rises to very high risk level. And that's in Spain. Let's look at that real quick. It's got to be about the Omicron variant. Children stand near a statue in a crowded commercial street amid the coronavirus disease pandemic. That was in December 8, 2021, Madrid. Spain's coronavirus infection rate rose above 500 cases per 100,000 people on Friday, crossing over the threshold considered very high risk by the health ministry and more than doubling since the start of December. On Friday, the infection rate or incident as measured over the preceding 14 days was 511 cases per 100,000, up to 38 points on the Thursday's 473. There were 33,359 new infections and 41 deaths according to the health ministry data. Roughly 80% of Spain's population, over 47 million, has been fully vaccinated against COVID-19, and some 10 million have received booster shots. On Thursday, Spain approved booster vaccines for people aged over 40. Spain has recorded 5.46 million cases and 88,708 deaths since the pandemic began. That's crazy. Now, I don't know if it gets cold over there like it does here in, Minnesota and shit, but I know in Minnesota you get sick in the winter because you cooped up in the house and shit, I don't know what it is like over there. It could just be the variant running rapid. And it's sad, no, I don't want people to die. I don't think anybody wants somebody to die, But, that's God. That's God, man. That's God. God must have needed them for some whatever reason. You know what I mean? That's how I look at it. And I think maybe that's just a way of like coping, and because I got a strong faith in God. But at least then I think like, at least they went out and are going to a better place where they ain't got to deal with the shit that's going on in this hellscape we call the world right now. But it's also, I think, this is fear. Like, this is something I would say this is fear, man. 500 people out of 100,000. It doesn't seem like a lot when I think about it in my head. It doesn't seem like a whole lot, man. And I'm not saying that couldn't add up fast and get more and more and more, but if that's all you had for such and such amount of time, when you okay, that's kind of a win then, you know what I mean? Like, it seems like we go from oh shit to oh shit real quick, and it doesn't seem like there's any reason to do that, you know what I mean? Especially when you see a lot of the statistical data surrounding the coronavirus. The survival rate, you know what I mean, compared to the mortality rate. You most likely gonna survive that bitch stunningly, you know what I mean? Now, I'm not saying that there's not people out there that have long-lasting effects, get really fucked up. I'm not saying that. But there's also a lot of people out here that get corona and literally go on about their life after it's done what it's gonna do. You know what I mean? Like, everybody's different. Every situation is different. So to kind of lump them all in together just seems kind of idiotic in its own right. That's just how I look at it, man. I've always said, I'm not saying I'm right. I'm not saying I'm the smartest in the room, but that's just how I look at it, Is The Voice racist? Show slams Wendy Moten loses to a girl named Tom in the finale. What? Okay. What do we do? There's so many, like, it's time to abolish emergency COVID-19 powers. The tragedy of Portland. It's a ghost town except for zombies. Oh, why host a murderer? Twitter enraged with Cowboys for allowing Kyle Rittenhouse. Oh, see, that's crazy, man. People so mad. What's this mean? Okay. The View's co-host blasted Republicans for being those not fully vaccinated. The reason the United States is still dealing with the pandemic. The notion of personal freedom seems to be trumping the public health of our fellow citizens, co-host Sonny Hostin said. Meanwhile, co-host Goldberg had announced on the show that she had received her booster shot, was out for the second day in a row due to COVID-19 scare. Co-host Joey Behar told the audience on Wednesday Goldberg had been exposed to someone who tested positive. The co-host blamed the unvaccinated despite recent data from the Center for Disease Control Prevention that shows the Omicron variant is most prevalent in those who are fully vaccinated. If they haven't gotten it, they're not going to get it by what people are saying, so keep doing what you're doing, co-host Sarah Haynes said. Now, Joey Behar, Whoopi Goldberg, Sonny Hostin, they've all been kind of just a pain in the ass over the last, I don't know, say 25 months, 36 months. That's a big jump, I know, but they really were on Trump's ass all the time. But as they said, the CDC shows that it's pretty prevalent in those that got the vaccination. So it would also make people that see that not want to get the vaccination. I'm just saying. Common sense says if I can get this sickness by having the vaccine, and if I don't have the vaccine, I may not get it, then I might not want to get the vaccine. You know what I'm saying? Just one more reason not to want to get that bitch, and one more reason to want to stay on this hill with these badass motherfucking savages. I'm just saying. And as she motherfucking said, if we haven't gotten it by now, we probably not gonna get it. And we definitely not gonna listen to The View and have The View try to pressure us to getting it. That would be stupid. Now, I think to finish this bad motherfucking show out, we gonna finish off with first sports. Why host a murderer? Twitter enraged with the Cowboys for allowing Kyle Rittenhouse to visit practice facility on his MAGA media tour. The Kyle Rittenhouse case has continued to gain a lot of attention, and a lot of people enraged and demand the strict punishment after Kyle shot and killed a pedophile, a domestic abuser, and injured a motherfucking criminal. However, Rittenhouse pleaded not guilty as he stated that whatever he did was to safeguard himself and attackers. He had claimed he had acted out of fear of his life. I did what I had to do to stop the person who was attacking me. That is the facts of the motherfucking case. Now, recently Rittenhouse visited Dallas to take to his Instagram account to post a few days after they enraged a lot of people in the photo. Kyle appeared to be inside of the Dallas Cowboys training camp in Frisco. Rittenhouse even went on to take the Cowboys official team account and thank them for the hospitality. You know, all I can say is, get it, homie. Get it, brah. Get it in, homie. We've been bagging Kyle since before he ever went to the motherfucking trial, so I really be laughing when motherfuckers get on his ass. You should be in jail. He's a murderer. He murdered a pedophile. Oh my God. That's what y'all sound like. Shut up. The fuck you talking about? Fuck that pedo. He died the way he wanted to go at. You know, he died doing what he loved to do. Chase little kids. Only problem, he didn't get to penetrate this one. This one got to penetrate his ass with a round in his motherfucking body. Fuck out of here. You think people are supposed to feel bad for these cluck motherfuckers? And if you mad that Kyle Rittenhouse is out, you are the problem. You the problem. Not him, you the problem. You should look in the mirror. Look really hard. Because you look real motherfucking ugly with that attitude. You look real ugly with that outlook. Mad because someone got to live another day after 3 other motherfuckers tried to take his life. Sounds like they got what they had coming at the end of the day, whether you like it or not. And if it's such a problem to you, why don't you send their mama some money? Why don't you insert yourself into their family's lives like you try to insert yourself into Kyle Rittenhouse's life? Like you try to insert yourself into the motherfucking trial with all them bullshit ass opinions. The cluckery is killing me, cuz. Shit. Now, Kyle definitely making the rounds. Kyle definitely doing the rounds. But it makes a lot of sense. He was in Texas with Elijah Schaefer and him on You Are Here and on Slightly Offensive. He was in Texas with Crowder. So why not hit the Dallas if the Dallas is willing to host you? Hell yeah. Go get it, homie. All the motherfuckers that drug your name for years and still continue to drag your name. Get it. Get that bag, king. Isn't that what they'd say? Go get that bag, king. Shit. Get mad at him all you want. This motherfucker gonna be living happy on this for a long time. And he still gotta live with all the PTSD, the nightmares, and all the problems behind the scenes. All these assholes get to see is what the media shows. Some of the most honest interviews I've ever seen are by conservatives or people that are like conservatives that hosted him and gave him an actual chance to tell his story for what it was, not what people wanted to make it. Then you got Binger out here doing interviews and shit, making it sound like he's still going to go after Kyle. No wonder Kyle keeps trolling your punk ass. Shouldn't even be a prosecutor with how bad you handled that case. You and that fat boy. Kraus or whatever the fuck his name was, man. Crazy. But that's what I mean by the news is just a wild set of just nonsense continuously forever and ever and ever and ever. You know what I mean? It just doesn't seem to stop. But Thank y'all for hanging out with your boy on this Friday. Trying to get high day. You already know what it is. Hope y'all stay blazed. I hope y'all stay blessed. I hope y'all stay safe in these cold motherfucking days in this crazy world we live in. Hope y'all stay the best you can be. Live your best life. It's always going to be fuck those hosts on The View. Fuck Biden. Fuck Fauci. Yeah. I think the list could go on, but I think we're going to stop it there. Y'all stay blessed. Peace.